Hey guys, thanks for listening to our podcast here. I am Stephanie and I'm an LPC, a sex therapist, and I specialize in alternative relationships.
And I am Fox. I'm a board-certified relationship and sex coach, a sexual assault intervention specialist, and a crisis intervention specialist.
And together, we're Stephanie and Fox.
That's right.
Dum-bump.
Previously, the Kinky Coach, for those of you that just went, what?
Yes.
I'm sorry, because we just rebranded our name. The Kinky Coach will remain alive as a lifestyle podcast only, but Stephanie and Fox will be all about relationships, intimacy, and sex.
Yes. So, we just kind of go right into that vein since we're talking about sex.
Okay.
And relationships, right? So go with me on this journey for a minute. So mainstream media appears to have suddenly have an appetite for polyamory, right? It seems to me that this trend, of course, has been helped by publications about non-monogamy relationships, like books called Polysecure, Designer Relationship, the new edition of The Ethical Slut, The Polyamorous Next Door, and so many more. Tonight, we have the privilege of visiting with a Triad where we're going to kind of explore how all this came together, their difficult moments, their happy moments, and all of the moments in between.
And don't forget the ridiculous TV shows out there that try and mimic what polyamory is really about, and they honestly do a horrific job because they make it about sex. Where polyamory is not about sex. It's about actual true love and relationships amongst more than one individual.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. So we have Mark, Vanessa, and David with us, known as the Triad, and we're going to talk to them about their journey, their story, and their relationship. How you doing, guys?
Hey, guys.
Hey,
how
great.
are ya?
Doing well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you for definitely allowing us to pry into your life a little bit and get the inside scoop. I'm going to get up close and personal, and I hope you guys are excited about that.
Of course.
She has great tits. I don't think anyone's going to have a problem with that.
Oh, wow.
It's okay.
Thanks.
Just got to put my wife out there.
Yeah. So just to start off, guys, introduce yourselves to our listeners and talk to us about how each one of you met.
All right. Well, my name's Mark. So Vanessa and I have been married for 22 years, and we have been swingers for probably about 8 or 9 years. So we met in college. We've been together more than half of our lives. Total of 26 years, married for 22. I think we're like the classic long-term married swingers. What I mean by that is we got married young. We had 3 kids a few years later. So our kids are all 2 years apart. So, 2002, 4, and 6, we had kids, had about 10 or 12 years of relatively monotonous or sort of boring sex. We started off great sex, and then you go through the life of having kids. Vanessa spent some time at home, so the finances weren't there. We just had to manage our way through. Still great marriage, kids are great. And then probably when the kids were old enough, towards the teenage years, we started to rekindle our romance a little bit. And then we started thinking a little bit more about the lifestyle, and we started talking about it. And as she got closer to her 40th birthday, that's when things really opened up, and Desire was our real awakening. We went to Desire for her 40th, and that's when things really opened up for us.
Yeah. And I think that for me, I was just kind of like that mom. And then I went back to work, and I kind of opened my relationship up with Mark. And we just I started to think, oh my gosh, I'm just not a mom. I have more things in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's me. Well, I was married for the better part of 30 years and had 5 children. And it was let's say, a toxic marriage. And thankfully, it ended. And I was basically locked down here in Michigan, and because of COVID. And I got kind of bored, so I signed up for an lifestyle website, and that's how I met Mark via the profiles, and hooked up with his wife, Vanessa. And that's how it all began.
Well, we appreciate you guys sharing that story. So, what are the dynamics of the triad relationship? Can you kind of break them down a little further for us? And also, how did they begin? And I understand you said the website, but dive a little bit further into what that story really looks like.
Yeah, that's a good point. So way back when Vanessa and I were starting to break out of the young kids mode and starting to rekindle our sexual relationship, I had never known about the hot wife lifestyle. It had always been a fantasy of mine to see her with another man, with another woman. But I don't know, especially with another man, I didn't know what it was. So again, I had never heard of the hot wife scenarios. Once the kids got a little bit older, we started to have a little more frequent sex, and I threw it out there one day to her while we were having sex, like, hey, I would love to see another man having sex with you. And Vanessa was like, really? And at that point, I'm like, great, she's not mad at me. She doesn't think I'm some sexual freak. And again, at that point, the internet there wasn't as much exposure. I'd seen some porn maybe here and there about that, but now I'm like, wow, she might actually be into this. So our sex life got better and better, and each time I kind of brought that up. So it was always a fantasy of mine. And once she was like, I could tell she was into it, that's really what opened up the door to, okay, now we're getting out of this. We are getting closer to her 40th. Let's talk about going to a place like Hedo, or we thought about Fantasy Fest since her birthday's in October. Maybe we thought about another place. Once I was looking at Hedo, then I saw the advertisements for Desire. And that's really when things opened up. And I basically said, hey, what do you think about going to a place like this for your 40th? So that really is what started the whole, I would love to see her with other people, us together with other people. And for us personally, it's difficult to find people close by as far as couples that we all four mesh together. It's such a turn on for me to think about her with another man. So that's really kind of how the whole process got started. And David, when I met him on the website, he checks all the boxes from what we're looking for. He's our age. Great guy, great body, good looking guy. He is stable in his career. He lives close by. He can host. So all of these things. And that's really what opened up when I started to chat with him on the website. That's really how things opened up with our relationship.
That's awesome. I want to jump back to something that Mark just said. You brought up the concept to your wife during sex. I call that feeding the seed and allowing that seed to grow.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I was nervous. I mean, we had been together forever, but
17 years.
I was nervous to bring that up, and I was more than happy when she took that as, really? Wow, okay. So feeding the seed is a great way to say it, and that's where the seed, honestly, during those conversations during sex, that is how everything got started for us in the lifestyle, and it's been like amazing ever since.
What about from your aspect, David?
Well, I was communicating with Mark, and we exchanged pictures, and he talked with me, chatted with me a little bit via text, and then he gave me Vanessa's number and said on Saturday, this was a Thursday, so on Saturday, send her the last picture you sent me. And so I introduced myself as Mark told me to text you and send you this picture. So, and Vanessa and I basically hit it off via text. And I remember thinking, I can't believe this is happening. And I ended up setting up a date the next day.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was...
Love COVID.
Yeah, COVID. So I was, on unemployment because everything was shut down. And I remember thinking, I'm renting this hotel room to meet her. I hope she doesn't flake on me. But it turned out all right. So
I call that move, David, by the way, hey, your hubby told me so it's supposed to be safe and okay.
Yes. Well, Mark is really good at vetting people.
Yes. Yes, he is.
So, Vanessa, talk to us about you're having sex with your husband, and he just brings up, hey, I would love to see you with another man. What are you thinking in the moment? How are you feeling? What does that look like?
Well, I mean, it's been a number of years, but like when he'll usually send me pictures of men, and like I will communicate with them, and then I will communicate with them, and it'll be something yes or no.
What did you think when I first brought it
But when he first brought up David, I was like, whoa. This was one that I was like, this is like a pretty good prospect. But this is like coming out of COVID. Like it was like such a weird prospect because I had been communicating with multiple men during COVID, like as like flirting, like it's never going to happen. But then when David was potential, I'm like, okay, that'll be good. And then like we just set it up. It was like this random communication and day we were gonna communicate and like get together. It was our first communication, like first hookup, quote unquote hookup, in months.
So how did it go from him being your hookup to now we're all in a relationship?
Well, I guess that Mark and I had not like really hooked up with anybody in a long time because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were like, okay, we can finally open it up. And then we found David, and Mark dropped me off at the hotel after a long time of not doing anything. And it was a connection. So we just connected on a lot of levels. And then he was my one quote unquote hookup for a couple months.
So I call that, darn, my life is terrible because I have two studs that enjoy my body.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So-
So how explain your relationship dynamics to others, or do you?
Well, we try to keep it on the down low, obviously. I think their kids kind of figured it out, but other than that, recently we took a trip to Secrets, and I think we were a force to be reckoned with. There were a lot of people looking at us thinking, wow, what a great thing they have. But I think they were a little intimidated too. But because we all were kind of knit together, maybe a little unapproachable because we were together. I don't know. But it developed because we got together and that night, and there was just something almost mystical that happened, unexplainable. We just had a connection that was just so good, and we kept on exploring that connection and realized after a month or so that we were falling in love with each other. And that could obviously be a problem with a married woman. So I made sure to be open in communication to Mark. And in fact, I went out of my way to meet with him for a beer, and which is something that they had never done before. And eventually I was invited over to their house, and the three of us ended up playing together. And as a result, we just realized that the three of us really are a good team, sexually, but also as friends. And yeah, it just keeps getting deeper every time too. So
Sure. So Mark, talk to us about that. David comes to you, another man comes to you and says, hey, I've been playing with your wife and I'm starting to fall in love with her. And what's the thoughts going through your head? Was it initial shock? Was there fear? Was there happiness? What does that look like?
Yeah, it was, I guess, unexpected to a certain degree. Like, Vanessa has had a lot of fun with other men. I had really appreciated David, how he gave me the full rundown after each time they met, right? So I love to hear the stories. I love to hear everything that happened. Vanessa doesn't really give me a lot of the, I guess, maybe just guys want to hear these extreme details, but David definitely gave me the details I was looking for. So it was a huge turn on. During the time we grabbed a beer, at that point, we really didn't talk about the love aspect. It was more like, wow, Vanessa is amazing. This is great. This is really turning into something special. And at that time, he told me, he said, I promise you, whatever happens, there will be nothing that will come between you and your wife as far as your marriage goes. And that was important to me, right? So we established that boundary early on that nothing will come between Vanessa and I. David is a part of it from he satisfies her sexually as well as I do. And it was just an addition to this whole thing. So that to me was the most important piece was, okay, we had that kind of that man-to-man talk. We had a situation where she was happy, he was happy, I was happy. And so at that point, that's when him and I were even joking around a little bit going, hey, maybe both of us can have some fun with Vanessa at the same time. So I think our wheels started to turn a little bit, like this could really turn into something, not only from a friendship standpoint, but from the three of us getting together sexually. Because Vanessa had said before, there's no way I will do two guys at one time. So that was something that we're like, I'm not too sure about that too. So that was a great conversation that really opened things up, that made sure that I was secure, he was secure, and that Vanessa was safe at the same time.
So when did it turn into love? When did it turn into, okay, we are a thing, all three of us?
Well, like I said, it started with Vanessa and I. We found ourselves falling in love, I guess you could say, in a mystical way. But then when basically I joined Mark and Vanessa at their house, and that started becoming a almost normal practice, we realized that the three of us had a deep friendship and care for each other. This thing was totally unexpected. As you can imagine, Vanessa had played hot wife for years and never had any issues. But here I come along and break down all those walls, as it were. But it's a good fit. It just kind of all happened naturally and organically within months of us all being together. And
can I answer some of that?
yeah.
Okay, can I okay, so I was just kind of like that wild child.
Okay.
So when we started this whole thing, it was like, we had vacation and I was like a naughty girl, and I would just like do whatever the hell I wanted. And it would be whenever I wanted, whatever I wanted. And I was kind of a naughty girl. Sorry.
Naughty.
And so I almost became like, I don't want to say out of control, but I would just kind of like do what I wanted. And then when I met David, then it was like, oh, I kind of like this guy. And like he kind of like settled me down. And then I don't know, it just kind of made me realize that like screwing men left and right was not my thing. Because that was that was what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry that's what I did. And like and it kind of became like, wow, I don't have to do that. I can have someone that I like actually like a regular. And then Mark was okay with it. And then 2 months later, we were like together. And I settled my life down.
Good.
Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
for sure. We actually have, so we're not in a polyamorous relationship, but we do have a couple that we call our significant couple, because over a 2-year lifespan so far, we have grown exponentially closer and closer and closer with them, to the point that we're comfortable enough now where most recently they just came to our home, brought their daughters, our kids watched their kids while we played, because our kids are much older and they very much know what we do. We're very respectful about it in the house, but at the same time we're very open about it. We don't hide. And that's how close we are with them. And so it's very understandable. Sometimes people just come into our lives and something just clicks and it just makes sense. And instead of going with the status quo of going, oh, well, this is not okay, this is, abnormal, this is, what's the word I'm looking for when something's taboo, right? You just go, well, the hell with all that. We're just going to do this because it feels good and it makes our hearts happy. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's very common, and I almost want to say that it needs to be stigmatized as very healthy and very positive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I want to know, since we've been in this, what's the most challenging elements of being in a triad?
Well, I think the biggest thing is having balance. There's obviously, a two-way relationship between, say, a man and woman can be difficult enough. Well, I have a relationship between Vanessa and I, and then there's the relationship of Mark and Vanessa that I have to respect and be careful not to cross into disrespectfully, if you know what I mean. And then there's the relationship of the three of us, just balancing all that, knowing the boundaries, and then of course the communication between us needing to be open and respectful. Those are probably the biggest challenges that I see.
Mark, what do you see?
Yeah, Mark, I'm interested to see what you see as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's, so our kids know that we did not do a good job and they overheard us one night when that was our mistake. But we have to keep it secret. But the challenges for sure are, when I found out that they were in the process of falling in love or they're in love, sometimes that's tough. She's my wife, right? We've been together for 26 years. And then sometimes I have to work through that myself. I overthink and go, wow, I wonder if she's having more fun with him, or if the sex is more amazing, and if she would rather or would want to spend more time with David. That's the part where she comes back and then reassures me. Vanessa says, no, I mean, that's not how it is. So we have, David said it well, the balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do we balance this relationship where I know that she is coming back to me, right? That she's never going to leave. We are together forever. And I want her. I mean, we got into this lifestyle for a reason, because that was our fantasy. My fantasy together was for her to have fun with another man. So she's doing that. But sometimes I think like, wow, what's going on? And as we've communicated, the number one thing is communication. So we've gotten a lot better about that. We've had some great conversations within the last month, where we've talked through these things. And I think that's the most important thing, is if there's any questions, if there's any concerns, let's talk through these things. So I think we're well past the difficult challenges. And now, I mean, we are well on our way, and we're having fun all the time.
That's pretty awesome. And I want to piggyback off of what you just said, because so in my prior poly relationship and in my current marriage with Stephanie, and I don't ever think I've told you this.
Oh, boy.
And as we've been talking, I was like, man. So I used to have a term when any of us felt any type of negative way: love equals love, as long as everyone is loved. And so what that really breaks down to is, if I love Stephanie, and if someone else loves her as well, or if someone else is providing something for her that possibly I can't provide, I accept that, and I'm okay with that, because that means she's being fulfilled in every dynamic possible. And that, to me, and this is my personal belief, that to me is honest, true love. When you want the best for a person in all aspects, whatever that looks like, that is love.
Yeah, that's well said. And that's exactly what I want for her, right? She's everything to me, right? So if she is happy and satisfied, that's perfectly said. And that's exactly what I want. And that's things that I've had to work through on my own, right? And I think that's exactly where we are at right now. It took some time, right? It took me a minute to get through it, because we've been together forever, but now that's exactly where we're at.
Vanessa, how do you support the partners when there's jealousy?
Okay, jealousy between my men?
Jealousy between any of you.
Yeah. When there's any sort of jealousy experienced, how do you support them?
Well, see, here's the thing, is that they never have jealousy between each other. I have jealousy like when they want to play with other people, because I almost get like possessive.
Okay. Tell me more about that.
I guess that when they want to play with other people, I'm like, wait a second. Like, is that other person better than me? Like, it's more my insecurity, because I feel like this is my triad. So I'm going to share them with someone else. It's totally my insecurity.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. I can understand how that would be difficult. I don't want to share. That's why I don't feel like I could ever be in a poly relationship, because I will share sexually, but I don't want to share any other way.
But here's the thing, is that they're fine with me with someone else.
Uh-huh.
But I tend to be a little bit more possessive with them with someone else. I'm being honest.
No,
like,
I
that's
love
just
this.
The way that I am. Because I'm like, I think because I know like what we have as our like triad. And I'm like, well, I don't want to like let anyone have that, because like it's so great.
So I think that's the beautiful thing about the lifestyle in general, or any type of alternative relationship, is whatever dynamic suits you as a couple or a throuple, or what have you, whatever that relationship looks like, it's okay. It doesn't have to match anybody else's dynamic or rules or boundaries, or it doesn't have to taste the same, look the same, or smell the same. As long as everyone is happy, that's all that should matter.
Yes, and I also think that like we went to Secrets in March. And like we all played with the other people. And it was just we all did. And we all came together. And that was kind of our first experience. And it's kind of like a growing pains. Like we have to like find our new normal.
And it's hard, especially when you've been sold a specific narrative your entire life that monogamy is the only way and you're not supposed to share. How can they love you if you share? There's so many negative messages that come out. And so that having to reprogram and redesign your relationship to what you want it to look like is never easy.
Yeah, but we always know that we're going to come back to each other because like we have a great relationship.
So what is one thing that has surprised you guys about poly life? And I'd like to start with David.
I don't know if it surprised me as much. Well, it surprised me to fall in love. But I would say thankful that Mark is open, that I ended up falling in love with his wife and she loves me. Because I there again, I don't want there to be any misconception that I'm trying to steal her away. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And I am very thankful that he has accepted that as well. And that we're really good friends. And you can tell when we go away that we are a force to be reckoned with.
So you guys said something earlier, and it definitely rings true when you have such a powerful relationship and dynamic with others, and you go to a lifestyle event or resort or what have you, people can definitely be intimidated because your energy is so beautiful and strong that sometimes people assume, well, there's no way I can break through that, so I'm not even going to try. And that could be a negative thing, but it could be a very beautiful and positive thing, because a lot of people can also reflect on their relationships and go, I want that. And then you almost become a pillar for somebody else, for them to seek out what you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I here's facts. What I'm going to say is I feel like at the pool at Secrets, we were just kind of like, we'd show up and like we'd be this like little triad. But then we'd like mingle with people and like work with people and like, Chelsea and Mark at the we'd participate in everything. I know, I love them.
we love Chelsea
And so
and Mark.
like we would just like we would like open ourselves up. Like we weren't just like this clique of 3 people.
Yeah.
We were the fun people. And then we opened ourselves up to like the games and like all the other stuff. So like we were like fun. Well,
Yes, we
maybe
were.
too much fun.
I think that Mark would argue with you, and so would Chelsea, if you ever said too much fun. There's not really. So
Well,
so
they know who we are.
yeah. So they're friends of ours, and I tell you what, man, they are the most amazing group of entertainers and directors I have ever met.
Yes, they are the best.
Well,
and that's the
we know.
inspiration for David to reach out to you guys, because he heard Mark and Chelsea's interview with you guys on the Kinky Coach, and that's why David reached out to you guys, because we love them too. We've just met them once. We're going back to Secrets over New Year's, so we're excited to see them. And Mark texts me, and we're staying in touch. You're exactly right. They are great people.
They really are. So let's get into some more positive and rewarding attributes to your triad relationship. Talk to us about the rewards and the attributes of being in your dynamic and being in the triad.
You said it earlier, it's the energy. When we're together, it's so much fun. Whether it's social interaction or sexual interaction between the three of us has always been extremely positive. We've never had any awkward moments. We always have fun. Every sexual experience we've had together has been amazing, and it's been fun, and we laugh and we joke, and it continues to get better and better. So that's a huge dynamic for us, is when we go to a place like Secrets, or if we go to Hito or any other place, we don't necessarily hunt for other people like maybe Vanessa and I did at Desire a little bit. We know that no matter what, the three of us are going to have fun no matter what. So I think that's the fun part about traveling. It's like traveling with your friends to any type of even a vanilla resort. You know you're going to have fun because you amp things up, because the more people brings more energy. And that's one thing that I appreciate about David too. He's very open to, socializing, trying new things, having fun. And so that is a huge dynamic for us, is just the overall fun and energy and relaxation that we bring with no pressure to meet and play with other people on that end. But we definitely want to, and like Vanessa said, we are as much socially interactive with as many people as possible at the resorts, but it's definitely the energy.
Mm-hmm. Well, we plan on frequently Hito quite often. We had our first experience there in March. We're going back in July and possibly October. So if you guys have an inkling to show up when we're there,
yes,
and we would love that.
We have dedicated ourselves to stalking Topless Travel and My Frisky Business, the two groups that we met there, and just
well, we've kind of all joined forces as well.
We kind of have.
I mean, we've joined forces to try to make this a better world, so to speak.
We want in on that. We want to join forces with you guys as well, because
yes.
we know them, and we want to get to Hito and join your crew.
Absolutely.
So the first rule of Hito Club is you must be naked.
Yep.
Of course. Yeah, I'm on to interject something a moment, if I may. There's what Vanessa and I developed into, there's a depth there that wasn't there for her before. We built a level of trust and friendship where she could actually explore and expand her horizons a lot more than she had ever done. In my book, I kind of documented that. For example, the anal thing, she had never really done it successfully. But thankfully, we worked through it and explored that option. And Mark was very grateful for that. And also the whole idea of Mark and Vanessa playing in a threesome together, which was something that was a concept foreign up until that point. So these are things that the toy play, Vanessa has a toy collection now. Those types of things. There's a depth there that gets missed with just a hookup. So that's what kind of makes this whole thing, the development of this thing, special.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and having three boys, 19, 17, and 15, we just never explored a lot of things. Like, we were like careers, raising kids, and honestly, like opening up our lifestyle, especially with David. Like, it's like a whole new world. Mm-hmm. It's like weird.
Mm-hmm. Weird.
I don't know if weird. It is weird because like I never opened my life up to that. Like, I'm such a conservative school teacher life.
School teachers, attorneys, cops, firefighters, military,
we know.
medics, that is almost.
We've been to Desire.
I was gonna say that is kind of the bulk of the lifestyle.
Yes. It's
Yep.
amazing. It's great.
I want to know, Vanessa, how has Mark grown as a person since you've opened this up? And then I want you to tell me how David has grown as a person in your eyes as you guys have come together.
I'm going to say that actually Mark has been way more open than me for a long, long time. So he's been open to all this way more than me. So we got into it at my 40th birthday and then 46. We're talking way more than that. And I feel like David is opening up because he was sequestered for 28 years. I'm sort of the in-between. Does that make sense?
It does,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's been kind of fun because I get to play both sides of it.
So, Mark, talk to us about Vanessa and how you have seen her grow and develop through all of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. Like she mentioned earlier, with frequent hookups, sure, that's hot. I get the reports from the guys. Of course, at the resorts, we played with other couples. She's grown a ton. I mean, she has completely opened herself up to. She's always been sexual, but now it's on a whole new level of sexuality, and she owns it, right? She loves it. She has, with the anal play, many other examples like toys, squirting, threesomes. I mean, I guess I could go on and on, but she has fully embraced her sexuality. I think that's the best part of this for me. I always knew it was in her when we first met, very sexual, but I think the number one thing that I love about this whole thing is her just completely embracing sexuality. We talk about it a lot. It's not a taboo thing to talk about masturbation, or to do all these other examples of things that we now are way more open to talking about. And that helps our regular relationship too. So our communication through the lifestyle and her owning her sexuality has made our regular communication even better too. So we're at a great place right now.
That's awesome. All right, so I want to kind of dive into.
Let's talk sexy.
Yeah.
Let's
into
get
some
sexy
sex.
talk. Yay,
Yeah.
my
The
favorite.
sexy time. So at this point, you guys have obviously probably done a lot together, but is there a fantasy that one of you or possibly all of you hold that you have still yet to fulfill that you would like to?
Does Vanessa want to talk
Can
about this here?
I go?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I want to do one more man with us. I don't want a fucking gangbang, but sorry.
That's what
It's
it is.
okay.
You can curse
You
on
can
the show.
cuss.
It's good.
I mean, and we've already been vetting people to be part of our group. But that's kind of my thing, to have 3 men with me. So that's my fantasy.
So do you want to turn it into a throuple, or are you just looking to bring someone in on the side for playtime every now and then?
Oh no, another to be part of the inside for playtime. Yeah.
Like a gangbang thing.
Yeah. Well, it's not gangbang.
Own it. If you want a gangbang, own it.
Honey, own the gangbang term. It's okay.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, tell me about your fantasies. Who's going to go first?
So I'm going to just quickly add on to that.
Okay,
Here's
Mark.
another thing that never in my life did I ever think I would have the just amazing pleasure of letting this happen. I mean, just the 2 of us, I thought, we've had great sex, but to have 3 men with her, that is certainly a fantasy. I mean, that is, I can't wait. And then who knows beyond that, but I'm just so lucky that this is actually happening. So if Vanessa wants to have 3 of us, 4 of us, more, then I think that is amazing. I think that's going to be and of course, I've already been vetting people. That's, I'm a recruiter for a living, and I do it in the lifestyle as well too. So that is something that's definitely going to happen this summer for sure. So I'll let David say his.
I was going to say real quick, Mark, I know a great profile that is called Stephanie and Fox, or the Kinky Coach.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the guy Fox has seen pictures of Vanessa and definitely would act as tribute in this
You would
situation.
volunteer as tribute?
I would volunteer as tribute.
Fox, come on over here to Michigan. We're Tommy G50 on SLS and Michigan Newbies on Cassidy. So we're ready for more people to join up. But Fox, you are in for sure.
Awesome.
Yes, you are. I listened to you on the beach in Florida. You're good.
So, David, fantasies.
Well, I'm with Mark and Vanessa with regard to a third guy. I would love to see that. But another thing, since these guys are veterans of desire and have had some wild stories to tell me over the past year, I would like to either expand our circle of friends or go to a resort and have an orgy. So it's one thing that I have not participated in. We've gotten up to 5, but on several occasions, but 6 or more.
You want the big, I was going to say, you want the big 6+.
Yes, absolutely.
That is fair. So, what is the most interesting sex story between the 3 of you?
Ooh.
Between the 3 of us?
Yeah, something that you're like, when we're asked to tell the story, this is the story we're going to tell between the 3 of you.
Give him the deep.
Well, we could talk about DP. That's quite phenomenal. But I think our biggest interesting story happened at Secrets. We had spent the day at the pool, and then we went back to our room in the afternoon, and we had our what we usually do,
Regular play session.
regular play session. And DVP is a staple of that. And but when we were done, we went back to the hot tub, and
Oh, God.
unbeknownst to the participants at the hot tub,
Go ahead.
well, there was a piece of Mark and I inside of Vanessa. Needless to say, 3 guys and 1 woman ate her out at the hot tub.
Fantastic.
They got a taste of us.
So that was pretty amazing to see too.
Yes.
And it was quite the production. So
There's a lot of willing participants in that tasting of Vanessa.
Very nice.
Awesome. Awesome.
Oh my gosh.
I know. For those who can't see but are listening, Vanessa is red, and and I don't know why, because she's just needs to own that shit. Be like, hell yeah.
Yes.
All right. So as we're starting to wrap up, I am going to ask, I want you guys to think about a person, an individual, a couple considering a polyamorous relationship. In your opinion, what is the most important element to consider before moving forward?
Can I go first?
Yeah.
I think you have to have total trust. So we've been married for 23 years. We have to have total trust in order to bring someone into our relationship where we find a love relationship. We all love each other. We have to have that trust and honesty that it used to be a hookup here, a hookup there, for both of us. Now it's more we trust each other and like we want to be together. So trust and honesty. Okay, that's mine.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. You've got to have that communication, trust, honesty. I mean, everything we ever hear, especially from you guys as professionals, that's what we hear from all the other podcasts. Don't be afraid to talk about your feelings, right? I mean, if you feel something, if your relationship is strong, no matter what you say, it has to be said. And that's what we've gone through, right? We trust each other. There's great communication. So you've got to have that foundation set in order to kind of go to the next level like we have. And the rewards are amazing, and it's continuing to get better and better. So you got to have it.
Yeah, I would agree that communication is key, and you have to trust each other. If there's anything going on inside of you that is not set, or your relationship, you definitely aren't going to be bringing a third in. It's going to be disastrous.
Yeah, that can't be. That is so true. There is something that any persons or people or couple or what have you that we play with. My wife, Stephanie, has big emotions, and she tells that to everyone. So much so that I have almost memorized her exact saying, and she tells them per this quote.
Oh boy, let's see if he gets it right.
I have really big emotions. I wear everything on my sleeve. I cry a lot because I'm happy, because I'm sad. I will play, and in the middle of play, I'm going to get up, probably leave, go cry in the bathroom, come back, and then suck your dick. It's going to be okay. Let me have my emotions.
He makes that up, and I never say that, but I do say I have big emotions, and if I cry, just let me cry, and I don't need you. Just let me go take care of myself.
Well, you don't say the dick sucking part, but I've seen you literally do that, which is why I put that out there.
Oh, well.
That's good.
But emotions they're healthy, they're acceptable, they're okay, we try so hard as mental health professionals and just as people that very much are in love with this lifestyle as a whole, break the stigma, open up, communicate. I'm a prior combat vet, I'm a prior federal agent, federal officer. I've been shot. I've been stabbed. I have scars all over my body. I have tattoos that tell my entire career story. My son will tell you he feels he lives in my shadow. People around me for the longest time told me you're this alpha male and you scare us and you're hard to get along with because you're very stoic and we don't know how to approach you. But I'm going to tell you right now, this lifestyle, I have cried. I hug men. I hug men naked. I'll lay next to a man naked and just have a conversation because my wife's in the bathroom crying. I've done all the things that supposedly an alpha male would never, ever do because it's not okay. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's perfectly okay. It's perfectly acceptable. And I absolutely love it. And the friendships I have formed with men in the lifestyle are so much more powerful than with some of my vanilla friends. I would say almost as powerful as some of my combat buddies, but it is definitely a different type of friendship, but still very powerful.
So when are we coming to Texas?
Whenever you're ready.
Whenever you get on the plane and fly this way.
Sounds great.
So one thing you'll find with Stephanie and I, we just love people in general, and we love hosting, we love having parties, we love people smiling. We just love to be around people. We can be turtles, but when we're turtles, we just don't talk to anyone because we need alone time to reconnect. But I'll tell you, probably 90% of our lives, we're going to have people around us 24/7 because that's just what we both equally love.
Yeah. Yep.
So whenever you want is the
That's
answer.
the answer. Come on down.
Fox, you were talking about alpha, and to be honest with you, maybe they don't understand what an alpha male really is, because an alpha male is comfortable doing all those things. He's not intimidated. I mean, that's basically the definition.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I read an article recently that talks about the omega male, which is supposed to be an alpha male who has accepted and adapted their feelings, but I almost want to challenge that, because you're absolutely correct. An alpha male is someone that is perfectly comfortable with everything. And I do mean everything. Yep. Their flaws, their positives, their negatives, their feelings, their emotions, all of it. And it's perfectly okay, and it's acceptable. And I will tell you, it makes you a stronger, better person if you stop fighting what you're feeling and you just accept it and allow it to happen. You know, I probably have become the best partner I can be in my time in my life right now. And Stephanie has benefited through all of my bullshit and nonsense of my past and my pride, because this woman here next to me taught me to just knock it the fuck off, to in plain language. Cut the shit, be who you really are, be that dork. You know, I like Marvel, I play some video games, I'm pretty good with coding and computers, but I can pick up a gun and do some fucking damage, you know. Yeah. I'm okay with all of it. I'm good with all of it. So.
We fucking love you.
That's awesome.
We love you guys. You guys have been so much fun. I got to tell you.
Hey, Stephanie, can I get your number?
Absolutely.
By the way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would love that. Guys, I want to thank you for taking the time and also having the courage to talk to us today. This is not something that's socially accepted. Very well aware of that. That is not something, this whole dynamic is not something that's comfortable to talk about outside of the confines of our little world that we've created. And I can't thank you enough for your bravery and for your candidness for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, it takes a lot to open up. And I'm going to tell you, your guys' story and your feelings and everything you've talked about today is definitely, in my opinion, and it's a very humble one, but it's going to help somebody, if not many.
Absolutely.
And you know, be happy about that, be proud about that, and we are definitely thankful for it ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are
We
great.
appreciate the opportunity.